neighbor.
Hello, neighbor.
Do I have your permission to film this and use the footage?
Yes, you do.
Okay, and could you please tell me your name?
My name is Karen Fischer.
Thank you. Can you describe yourself in 5 words?
Capable, kind, intelligent, creative, concerned.
Fair play. Where do you live? Describe your living situation. Who do you live with?
I live in a home that we built on Lopez Island in the San Juan Island chain. And I've lived here for 30 years or 31 or something.
Okay.
27 maybe, actually. 27 years.
27 years.
27 years. What was the rest of the question?
Who else lives here? What's your living situation?
Oh yeah, okay. 10 acres, a house. My son lives in the upstairs of the garage. I have a couple other people living here, 3 other people living in outbuildings and RVs, and we're all friends. Most of them are my son's age, and so we're kind of sharing the property with young people.
Okay. How has this place changed since you've been here? Meaning not only just here, but
the
Lopez.
Island. Not that much. It's a little bit lost in time in a good way. There are some new buildings, like we helped build some of the big new public buildings on the island when we first got here. We're gonna get a public swimming pool really soon, but that's taken 25 years, so things move really slowly. There's a little bit more of a village and a little bit less of a community feel. I mean, not as many people know each other as did 30 years ago when I got here, but everyone still waves on the road. We still pretty much know each other, and it's always been a really tolerant community of, there's a lot of political and every other maybe not racial diversity. We're all really white here, but a lot of economic and political diversity here, and everyone's quite tolerant of that, and because we rely on each other, and it's a very stable community. People don't come and go very quickly. There's not a lot of transients. Excuse me. So yeah, that you better be nice to your neighbor, because you're gonna see that person for the rest of your life. You're going to be seeing that person.
What's your favorite thing about living here?
I think my favorite thing is that we are on an island, and it's not that easy to come and go. So it's a very old-fashioned actual community. Like, there's no freeway running through it. There's no there are no chain stores here. It's very we're living local, and that sense of community that I moved into when we moved here was something I'd never experienced anywhere else. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know what a community was until I came here, and it's great. It's my favorite part.
In your estimation, what does a good life look or feel like?
What a good life looks and feels like. It feels abundant, but not extravagant. It feels considerate of others. It feels honest. It feels free in the sense of having autonomy and being able to choose what I do, when I do it. feels creative. Yeah.
And what is the biggest challenge you're facing in your life?
The biggest challenge I'm facing in my life is I would have, until this year, I would have had such an easy time answering that because there have been so many challenges, and it finally feels like it's calmed down to the point where I feel like my challenges now involve just sort of distributing my solidity. Like, I feel solid now, and how much can I give to other people? How much can I spread that around? How helpful can I be to the others who are struggling? I was struggling, now I'm not. Hooray. How can I help?
And what is your favorite vegetable?
See, this is a hard one, because you think, like, if you laid out all the vegetables on the table, which one would I eat? Which one would I pick at a banquet? Probably corn on the cob.
Okay.
But if I had to live without one vegetable, it might be garlic or an onion.
Okay.
Like, if there were never any onions in the world, I wouldn't be able to cook anymore.
How do you spend the majority of your time?
How do I spend the majority? It depends from year to year, but I think the majority of my time recently has, if the majority of my time in the last 10 years has been spent writing. In the last year was spent in the garden growing food. I would say working with horses, writing, growing food, depending on, and being a parent, depending on the year. That's.
What do you wish you had more time for?
Wish I had more time for. I think, getting away from my everyday life and up into the mountains, which is just about to happen. So hooray! Yeah.
What do you believe will happen to you personally when you die?
I do believe in non-local consciousness, and I do believe that our consciousness continues. That we are, I feel like our bodies are transmitters of consciousness, not the seat of it. So I think somehow there will still be a me.
Okay. What's something you know more about than most people?
I know more history than most people, I think.
What's something that you've learned recently?
I learned about bicycles recently.
Okay.
I learned a lot about bicycles.
And how did you learn that?
YouTube is a great resource.
Okay.
I love learning things from other people on YouTube, other real people.
Do you have access to the health care that you want and need, and how not?
Yes, I have access, I believe, to the health care that is available to everyone else. Is it the health care I want and need? I'm not really sure. I'm grateful for what we have in this country, and I'm grateful that I'm, soon going to be on Medicare as an old person. I'm grateful for that security, but I feel like our healthcare system is in dire straits in general, and I'm not really sure that I always trust Western medicine to have the right answer. How's that?
Is there something you'd like to have access to that you don't? Is there a modality?
I feel like preventative, it would be during my whole lifetime. I'm glad to have learned so much more about how to prevent illness. And I feel like if we had taxpayer supported not-for-profit medicine, we would put a lot more time and care into teaching people how to stay healthy instead of getting them sick so that we can fix them for profit.
When's the last time you read a whole book, and what was it?
I just read Grace Grace, I can't remember her last name. Anyway, it was called The Children's Bach, B-A-C-H, and she's an Australian writer, and
Okay.
I'm reading now I'm reading her first book because I really like that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you recommend it?
I would recommend it if you like its proper literary fiction.
Okay. Okay. Describe a good person.
A good person is respectful, conscientious, restrained, skilled, helpful, a good member of a community, not ignorant, takes care to learn, not just to believe what they're told, but to take responsibility for learning,
Mm-hmm.
take responsibility for behaving in ways that benefit others, not just themselves. Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I had a small piece of seedy bread
Okay.
that has seeds and fruits and nuts.
And what is your favorite breakfast?
That's as good as any. And it had currant jam on it that I made myself with my own currants, and that's the most delicious part.
Okay. What do you love here on planet Earth, and what makes you happy you're alive?
I love the earth that doesn't have people growing on it. I love gardens too, but I love, just natural environments. I love animals. I love the food that grows on the earth. I love growing the food on the earth. Yeah. I mean, the whole big thing, everything. The idea that there's so much more to the earth than I can probably ever see.
If you got a checklist when you paid your taxes so you could decide what the government used your portion of the money for, what would your top 3 priorities be?
My top 3 priorities would be supporting sustainable agriculture, not conventional agriculture,
Mhm.
like giving subsidies to small farmers and encouraging regenerative agriculture, good food for all of us should be subsidized more than cheap food than food that's bad for the environment. I feel like subsidizing a transition to renewable energy would have a high priority, and massive funding for education. I think it's incredibly underfunded. Oh, then I would really love socialized medicine too. So I don't know. I might have to kick energy down to the bottom and do. I would love to have universal health care.
What 3 things would you not want your taxes to pay for?
I think we put way too much money into military spending. I don't think that's necessary. I think that you know, it's not exactly a taxpayer dollar thing. I really, really don't like private money in politics, and the resultant like pork barrels spending that you get. That's you know, essentially bribery. What should we spend less money on? I mean, the military is obvious. Oh, you know, oil subsidies for oil companies,
Okay.
and pipelines and infrastructure for moving oil. I feel like we need to decarbonize. It's not good for us.
How many living beings are you responsible for keeping alive?
Depends on the day. Depends on, you know, like if I walked away, would they really die? Like my apocalypse dog who can catch bunnies, would she
Okay.
die if I wanted? I don't know, but okay.
She's kind of counting on you.
Definitely, okay, 3 or 4 horses, a dog, and, you know, lots of people who may or may not need me. Lots of them. But how much do they need me? I don't know. And not my parents anymore. That was for a little while. They were absolutely relying on me.
Do you feel well represented by your politicians? And break that down into levels.
Some of them, yes. I feel like state of Washington is not bad. I feel like on the national level, I've never been able to vote for a presidential candidate that I believed in, who was as progressive as I feel like most of the country actually is. And I may have that, you know, a coastal bias. But I feel like the country has moved to the right over my lifetime, and left me further and further behind. And I have been pretty disappointed by every president I've been able to vote for, and you know, the ones that I had the most hope for are still disappointing me. Yeah.
And how would you say the politics plays out on the local level? Like just on island?
How does that play out on island?
Or do you even think about that?
You know, in terms of the healthcare that we're able to receive on this island, it's failing now, like in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
The clinic is no longer, we don't have a doctor anymore. We don't have, that's probably the biggest trickle down impact, in terms of social services for people who are, you know, living on the edge of, you know, of poverty level. I think, you know, they really rely on SNAP benefits and things that are going to get cut. Our school is pretty tragically, you know, it's a small rural school, and it's well funded because the taxpayer base is pretty high here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still, you know, the classes are, you know, it could be better. I would say we're pretty well insulated from the worst that political change has brought. A lot of other people in the country. We're pretty insulated here.
What kind of person would you be most excited to vote for?
I mean, I don't know. The proof might be in the pudding, but I was very excited when Zoran Mamdani got elected as mayor of New York, and I feel like that is the direction that the intensity with which people were supporting him and voting for him, who are both Trump voters and Biden voters, is an indication to me that we're really ready for somebody different, politically. Yeah.
Is there something in your heart that you really want to do that feels impossible?
current president. Not me personally, but yeah, I feel like we're in a really, really dangerous place right now. I would like to get rid of all the nuclear weapons in the world. That would be a good thing. I feel like it's too bad we didn't invent them, and stop the development of AI. I would 100%. That is impossible for me to do, and I am very concerned about that.
And the biggest roadblock to getting rid of those things is basically just, it's too big.
It's too big. It's, like our ability to stop the technological train since the invention of the, internal combustion engine has been almost zero. Like, we have not been able to move politically and culturally fast enough to say, wait, what?
Okay.
And to stop these technologies before they become integrated and that all these technologies that are so profitable for a few people and cause so much damage to communities and to the environment, and I mean, including cars, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
A great blessing, but also a great curse. And we just needed more time to think about these things. And I feel like AI is going light years faster than the adoption of any of these other technologies that we've been confronted with, and we don't have time.
Would you say that's the biggest challenge we're facing as a country, or you'd pick something else?
Currently, I feel like we are in a really bad place. I feel like, a few weeks ago, I wrote, within 5 years, I can see that we are going to be at war with each other in this country, and or at war with other countries in the world, and or at war with our own, in our own political system, at war with at war with AI, and we're already at war with our environment, and I don't think we're winning that war. We've been at war for a really long time with our environment, and I think the environment is going to win, because it's foolish, all these wars. And so I think we're in incredibly unstable times right now, but I knew when I was practically born that these were very unstable times, and it's gotten worse. So
if you could ask everyone in the United States one question, what would you ask?
What do you want your life to be like?
Okay, fair play. And I would love it if people who are watching this would answer in the comments and let us know what you want in your life, what you want it to look like. Okay, thank you.